old people. I just made a whole, gave a whole rant about how this morning I woke up and the first thing I saw was the Rick Ross response to the beef, and then I finally played back the beef, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm up to date. But then I was looking for the Iranian strike on Israel, and I couldn't find it. It came up. Eventually, I understood what happened with the Iranian strike on Israel and whether it really sparked, a regional or world dispute. So I got that, and that was kind of important since it could spark a world war, and it should be in the top of the news. But still, the most important thing in the news is the beef. And I was saying that I walked Biggie to his car the day he was killed. And that experience was, I got home, then I got a phone call from Mike Concepcion. I was in LA, we went to that party that you've all read about. I walked him to his car. It was the only time I ever really hung out with him, And I walked into his car, I went home, and Mike Concepcion called me and told me he had been killed. The next day we had a meeting at Mr. Farrakhan's house. Not the next day I called and we set up a meeting, and we had a meeting where East and West came together at Mr. Farrakhan's house, and that kind of stopped the war. It's all documented. But it was a big deal because people were dying, right? And Biggie and Tupac were dead. And rap beef escalated to that. A lot of other people died too, they're just not as famous. So here we are today, and there's rap beef, and it's the biggest thing in the news. But I want to just say how powerful they are, the rappers. They're so powerful that if they came together and they said we wanted equal high quality education, the American government would figure out a way to do it. They all went to Trump tomorrow and said, we want you to figure out how to pay for equal high quality education for every American. It would be part of his campaign, and we could probably push him to do it. The same for sure with Joe Biden. He's more likely to try. I mean, it would be as big as AIPAC. I don't know. We could push him to do something so meaningful about healthcare, about education, about all of the things that matter to black people. Just rappers alone could spark the dialogue big enough and create a dialogue big enough and a demand big enough that our American government would deliver for us equal high quality education or health care that's equivalent to the health care of every other developed country in this world. But instead we are beefing. I'm all for entertainment, but it's not their fault that they're bigger than our congressmen, that they're more important than our senators, and that their words carry more weight than our leadership. I remember Malcolm X said that it was a shame that we lived in a world where entertainers, and only black people, had entertainers as leaders. Well, that was designed to be such a, so when Farrakhan put those entertainers in a room, when I had that summit, and all of the rappers came, every New York City candidate for mayor came, the head of the NAACP, Kwame Nkrumah, the head of the Urban League, all of the councilmen and who were interested in that group, supporting them, they all showed up. And he told them they weren't gangsters, but that the government, in fact, was gangster, and they should curb their words. And a lot of them really took that to heart and did something. And we did do things. Again, we changed the Rockefeller drug laws. We got thousands of people out of jail. We got hundreds of millions of dollars put in the education budget. We did something. The Hip Hop Summit was successful. Not in the way we would hope, but certainly today, where is the communication amongst rappers that has to do with lifting our people? Not their job. They didn't ask for this power. They asked for power over people to buy their records and power over people to love them as music artists and poets. But unfortunately, we need them to say something else. Together, it would spark a revolution. And I just wanted to get that out. I said it and I erased it by mistake. But I'm saying it again. I said I walked Biggie to his car, and I felt that night his death. I felt I must have been involved in saving the lives of God knows how many rappers. I solved so many rap beef behind the scenes. I saw that. It was not nearly as big, the beefs. Even though they were in the cover of Vibe magazine, they weren't as traveled as we are today with social media. enough so that we smother the potential for world war. We all should have been sitting on not worried so much because life is about moving forward, but we should be aware of the things like the attack from Iran to Israel could spark a world war, and we should know about that more than we should the lyrics of Drake's diss. Just my opinion, and I hope that someone listens and some young. Is the NAACP still, I don't know, but Kwame Nkrumah was the head of the NAACP. He sat in the front row when Farrakhan addressed rappers, whether you like Farrakhan or not. All of the mayoral candidates, 5, 2 Jewish ones, Bloomberg and others, came to that summit just to pay homage to the power of hip-hop. And then hip-hop did exude some power, like I said, and change some things. And they still have the power. In fact, their power is so pop, so mainstream, that they can do much more than they were able to do before. And I hope that someone, Birdman, one of the older statesmen who is still very involved, Jay-Z and Rock Nation, so many powerful hip-hop figures who are still in the game and still have relationship with across the board with hip-hop. Those people could really, if they wanted, create something, a vehicle where the power of hip-hop is harnessed and used in the way we tried to use it years ago. Don't let it get away. It's really, really useful to the black community because we need voices that will spur more voices that will create the revolutions to save us from, God knows, they're tearing apart whatever we built. Any affirmative action, any of the things that we fought for are being taken from us. Hip-hop could protect us. It could also create new vehicles for the betterment of humanity. That's it. What about the Hip-Hop Caucus? I haven't been in touch with them, the Reverend who ran it, but he's not moving Drake. It's just when we had Jay-Z and Puffy and whoever else what there was so many. Eminem people all showed up. Everybody showed up to see Farrakhan. And it was scary. The mainstream media was afraid. Well, they carried it, but his ability to push people, if he would decide to speak about the factory farming industry, if the collective hip-hop spoke about the poisoning of our communities, they'd bear down on the questions that matter. Why does, and I thought about this one, why does McDonald's have 19 ingredients in the American French fry and 3 oil, salt, and potato in the British one? Because the American government allows for such foolery to go on. Hip-hop could change the food we eat. Hip-hop could change the level of education we get. Hip-hop could change the level of health care we get. They can't do it alone. They can do it because they can create such a revolution amongst people that politicians would have no choice but to listen. I don't know who the leader is, who will step up, and who has the power to do, to organize them. But it would take a lot of, not so much work, I guess. Just take one star who has the voice. J. Cole, maybe. Somebody. All right, namaste, yogis. That's it.